There we go. I guess I paused it, froze it. Don't know what I did to it. Wait for the computer to catch up. Gosh darn. Computer makes me crazy, man. Sorry about last week. Just could not get with the program to get with you guys. I cannot get this YouTube channel up, man. I turned this computer on hours ago just so it could be prepared. Here we go. So, important news. Last week, teenage Negasonic Teenage Warhead figure was announced by Soso Toys or Susu Toys. I'm not sure how to say it. It's from Deadpool 2, the one where she was called Justin Bieber. I thought that was funny. I kind of also want the Deadpool 1 version of Negasonic Teenage Warhead, but I'm happy that she's available. So, of course, if you're wanting to add to your Deadpool collection, she'd be great with Colossus. That would be an excellent addition there. What in the world just happened to my YouTube channel? It's weird. Also, last week was a head sculpt of Tom Holland as Peter Parker with just the mask like lifted up and still on his head. You can add that to your Spider-Man. Don't know which Spider-Man it fits on. I'm imagining the standard ones, unlike the one of them. I forget which one it was. Was it the Iron Spider that had an interesting head, like a magnetic head? I think it was Iron Spider that had a magnetic head. The only one that wouldn't fit the normal. That was also announced last week. What was announced this week, though, this is really exciting, is the Mark IV holographic. Now, Hot Toys showed us that like 10 years ago or something. They were showing the red and yellow holographic piece. I have seen collectors like Terrence from Singapore, Terrence T, has one that I think was manufactured to duplicate the Hot Toys show off figure, but they never released one. Hot Toys never released one. Um, so that is going to be going up for pre-order soon. It was announced as a Toy Fair 2020 item and for select markets only. Now, sometimes that means we don't get it in the United States. Most times that means we will get it in the United States, but it's normally limited or only through pre-purchase and you pick it up at San Diego Comic-Con, which from my understanding there is no San Diego Comic-Con this year. So I know Sideshow's having their little Sideshow Comic-Con thing going on, which starts like on the 20th, I believe, of July. So maybe they're going to announce it then. It's supposed to be coming out Q3, Q4 2020, which is this year. So they've been working on it for a while. This holographic red and gold Mark IV. Now, obviously, the one that was shown 10 years ago or thereabouts, 8 years ago, is that one was not diecast. There was no diecast, nothing going on back then. But this one says has some diecast structural pieces to it. So I'm assuming the hips possibly are diecast. It's manufactured off the same mold, it appears, as the Mark IV diecast. But I think I also noticed a little slight difference in the pelvic region there where the articulated waist meets up with the pelvic piece, the panties as we call them in the older plastic ones. It doesn't appear to be the same panties on this holographic one compared to the diecast one. But then again, of course, the prototype pictures sometimes have absolutely nothing to do with what actually comes out in production. So it's really hard to sit there and look at that red and yellow holographic Iron Man Mark IV and compare it to the Mark IV diecast. It definitely isn't the Mark IV plastic. But I don't see any diecast pieces on the outside except possibly the little gold top of the knee cap might be diecast. It appears solid in the photographs. Everything else appears to be translucent. So unless they've discovered translucent aluminum, as we talked about in Star Trek 4, then it's all plastic on the outside, which is fine by me. I'm going to consider it a buy, as in purchase. I don't know what I'm going to have to do to get it. I don't know if Sideshow is going to be carrying it or if I'm going to have to track it down through Hong Kong, but it's definitely going to be a must buy as far as I'm concerned. The next absolute must buy is Spider-Man 2099 Black version to come out. Now, what's so interesting about that is I always thought my entire life that 2099, Miguel O'Hara, was it Miguel O'Hara or Miguel O'Hara? I don't remember which, was always dark blue. I never considered him black. Dark blue and red. Maybe he is black. I'm talking about the color of his outfit. Maybe it's just a super dark blue, like a midnight blue. That has also been announced for pre-selected markets only. Again, select markets only, which means may or may not be available here in the United States, may or may not be sold through Sideshow. So that's going to be an interesting one as well. Of course, 100% buy as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's a total no-brainer. Total no-brainer in that regard. I was kind of surprised to see that, especially after they showed us at Comic-Con, I think it was last year, I forget which one, they showed us a different Spider-Man, which still hasn't been released yet. So the one that they showed us, they've released multiples since then, and still haven't released the one that they showed us, without releasing or announcing the ones that they have released, which is interesting. I also thought that the mini Spider-Man Hall of Armor, if you will, which kind of resembled what we've seen in Spider-Verse when we go down to Peter Parker's spider cave under the ground there at Aunt May's house. I thought all of those Spider-Man figures would be a pre-announcement of what was coming up. So far, they've not followed that guideline. What I would really like to see would be the Spirit one, I think is what it's called, with the Ghost Rider style head with the flames and all that. Oh my God. That would be so absolutely cool. But definitely all the Spider-Man. So yeah, there's another buy as far as I'm concerned in regards to that. And it's also supposed to be released Q3, Q4 2020. So both of these are like Christmas time figures in that regards. Now, there's two others that have come out. I'm going to only briefly touch on the Stan Lee. I love Stan. I have my Stan Lee figure. I haven't bought any of the other Stan Lee figures. So they have Stan from Thor Ragnarok. I'm going to pass on it, but if you're a Thor Ragnarok fan, which Thor Ragnarok I think was one of the best Marvel movies that they made out of all of the MCU Marvel lineup. It's one of my favorites. If you're a Thor Ragnarok fan, adding into your Thor Ragnarok collection, of course, he would be an ad. If you want to collect Stan Lee's, which now with what? This would be the fourth, I guess. You had the two versions of the Hot Toy Stan Lee, and then there was another company, I forget who it was, that made a Stan Lee where he had like the beard option that you could wear him in. And then, of course, there's the astronaut Stan Lee, more or less, or the Watcher, if you'll call him that. So this would be another line in the Stan Lee line. If you're a Stan Lee collector, I mean, that would give you a fourth Stan Lee in the 1/6 scale collectible figures. But I'm gonna pass them up. I didn't even really look into it. I just seen it and I was like, I'm not even gonna bother opening it up. I really didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't open it up. I didn't even look at the Stan Lee. It was just a pass as far as I was concerned. I have my Stan Lee, and it's like the autograph Stan Lee. He's in his director's chair, and it's the first Hot Toy Stan Lee, and I'm very pleased with that. I don't need it. I don't think at this time I'm going to be collecting any of the other Stan Lees. But the fourth one that was announced by Hot Toys a couple days ago is the Whiplash Mark One, the one that we see at Monaco. And this looks like an absolute total direct recreation or reproduction of the first one that came out in 2012 or whatever year it was. However, it does have a different MMS number. Speaking of MMS numbers, the MMS number for the Iron Man holographic Mark IV does not have a diecast designator in it. It's MMS 563 or something, I don't remember. But there's no D after it. Even though it says in the description, there's diecast parts for the structural integrity of the figure. So I assuming then that since there's no diecast parts on the outside, like the thighs or whatever, which are traditionally diecast on the Iron Man figures, I guess they don't consider it a diecast figure in that regards because of that. Got a little lag here on my computer. I hope you guys are seeing me well. So back to Whiplash. This appears to be an absolute, straight up, full on reproduction of the original Whiplash. However, it does have a different MMS number. The only difference I see is possibly two things. I couldn't find the name of the artist who painted it originally. So maybe the head painter is a different artist. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. I in my records, in my research, and I didn't, I guess, spend a lot of time on it, I was unable to verify the name of the artist who painted the head sculpts of the first Mickey Rourke Iron Man Whiplash Mark One from Monaco of that figure. So maybe a different head sculpt painter. The head sculptor is the same. It's Kojun. He had sculpted the original, but they could be using that and just, you know, burning them off of in the factory from his original head sculpt. The body appears to be exactly the same. The only difference I see is in the figure stand, and that might be why they don't have the same MMS number. Because, for instance, when they re-released the Mark 43, it came with the exact same figure stand, exact same accessories, and exact same MMS number. This one having a different MMS number, it also has a different figure base stand, diorama stand. It has the street in it, which I guess Terminator, and also the Mark 7 came with it. So they're going with that figure stand on that. So I'm assuming that's why there's a different MMS number on there. My computer is totally frozen. Got a lot of chat here, and I certainly want to catch up after sharing all of that with you. Just can't buy. I hate this computer so much. Oh my God, I hate this computer. Really do. All right, here we go. Come on. What in the world? Not responding. So I think that's all of the essential news, really, as far as I'm concerned, that has come out lately in regards to what is of interest to me and maybe to you guys. There have been a lot of 1/6 scale figures and accessories and stuff that have been announced in the last couple of weeks. A lot of World War II stuff, a lot of, a lot, many different franchises have come out. Just about every day, another 1/6 scale something has dropped. Guitars and saxophones and all sorts of really neat stuff to add to your 1/6 collecting or collection, whichever the case. Stupid computer. So I was quite pleased that this came in the mail. Came on Thursday. I have not received my Spider-Gwens yet, and they're coming straight from Hong Kong, so I don't know how long it'll be before they arrive. Hopefully by next week. Bought two, but I only need to show one. I need to unbox both of them in a video. But the reason I got two is because I wanted to pose her in different settings. You know, mask on, mask off, hood up, hood down, as such. So, waiting for my YouTube to respond. Oh my God. This computer, I swear. Let's get to work. I'll catch up on the chat after my computer decides it wants to play fair. All right. Now, I don't know. Of course, I like to do a first impression more or less when I open these up. So if I know a figure is coming, I don't watch anybody else's videos until after I've unboxed it, because I want to be able to see it from my eyes first. I'll give you guys my full-on first impressions. So I don't remember which War Machine this reflects or represents or was taken from. What in the hell? So let's find out together. You guys probably already know. You're way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. Of course, Big Bag Toy Store always puts their little advertisement in there, what the heck they got going on, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I love shopping from Big Bag Toy Store because they give you a receipt, which Sideshow does not do. And they offer $4 shipping here in the United States, which is great. Especially when you have a figure that is diecast and can weigh a few pounds. It's going to cost you $20, $25 for me from Sideshow. I'm in the same state as they are, so it's a great option, and you don't pay for it until it arrives in their store. So this came from DVTS. Like I said, it took about 2 weeks from the time it was paid for it to get here. And they always put their boxes in another box when they ship it to you, where Sideshow is going to ship it right in this. Oh, good. Let's check up on the chat real quick. See what we got. Toy Mafia, how's it going, man? You're always first at my channel. Thank you. I love you for that, Robert. You're always up there as well. Some of the first people into the channel every week. I really love you guys. Thank you. Yeah, what happened last week, man? I just could not wake up. Could not wake up. Had my alarm clock, 6 a.m. Hit the snooze. 6:10. Hit the snooze. 6:20, hit the snooze. That didn't get back up again. That was it. Next thing you know, it was 10 o'clock in the morning. My wife's like, how'd your video go? And I'm like, I didn't do one. I'm so sorry, guys. I guess I was just kind of disappointed I didn't have anything really to talk about. I'd gone through all the figures, but I do, man. I really miss you guys. I'm sorry I wasn't here. And I just couldn't get with the program. I ended up sleeping in. Which... you know, there's no excuse for that. I'm sorry. But I'm here today. Yeah, let's get to this box, right? Gogul, Robert, Toy Mafia, Save all Mason. Happy Saturday, Robert. Not feeling it. The hollow Iron Man looks too plastic, like a Marvel Legend. And yeah, like I said, when they originally did that, that was one of their first pieces they showed. Well, not one of their first pieces, but it was previewed, like I said, almost 10 years ago. They did a red, a yellow one, and they did a blue and green one. Hot Toys did. But it was only just like a show-off figure. You know, like when they built the Millennium Falcon. They're never selling that Millennium Falcon. You know, they built it for their own little thing. So they made a little show-off figure. So it was plastic back then. There was nothing die-cast. So they went faithful with that. And I literally broke out my Mark IV plastic or Mark IV die-cast, and I was comparing the two and comparing it to the photographs to see whether or not they were doing a plastic, if it was a plastic holograph, or whether it was the die-cast. And it is. It's definitely the die-cast molding, except for that area I talked about. But, yeah, I can see it not being a figure that everyone would buy. Kind of like the Neon Iron Men. You know, it's not in every figure for collectors. But it's neat for me because I've been looking at the figure for like 10 years, truthfully. So now I'm like, oh, cool, we finally get it. So it's a must for me. But I can see how it could be an easy pass for a lot of you out there. CBS Sci-Fi, how are you doing? Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, right? Biff Tannen, cool. Doc Brown with the white lab coat. Hot Toys Caesar Romero. Oh, that would be nice if they did like a full-on entire Adam West Batman villains and villainesses. That would be sweet. Columbo and Quincy, interesting. Oh yeah, my box is here. This is stuff I just found in the other room that I'd opened up and put the boxes in there and hadn't got them out to the garage. There's like Mark 50 accessories here and little stuff and whatnot needs to be gone through. I didn't expect it to be on camera. Sorry guys. We got a lot of stuff in the way of the camera, don't we? Cluttered view up here. Coffee. This camera really records great. I wish I could figure out how to broadcast it in 4K. I think it only records in 720 when I'm streaming. And the camera has an 8K camera in it. I don't know how to get it up to 4K on live stream. I might not be able to. If any of y'all know, let me know. So give me villains when I saw Whiplash. There you go. There's 6 villains that you can pre-order right now. 6. Wow, yeah, that's a lot. Loki, um, obviously Whiplash one. So like I said, yeah, if you missed the original 121, I think it's 121, Whiplash Mark One, and you want to add that to your collection up against your Mark Five, because it looks great up there, mine does. This is definitely an opportunity for you to do that. Since I already have one, I'm at this point where I'm debating: should I get another one or not? I mean, his joints are loose because he's an old figure. I don't pose him. I don't play with him. He just stands where he stands up against the Mark V suit. But I just don't think I'm going to get him. But if you're a new collector and hadn't chased him down, and he'd always been a holy grail for you, there's your opportunity. So that kind of goes along with something that you and I have talked about before, where we said I've said that you know, Hot Toys isn't making these figures because they give a damn about you. Hot Toys isn't giving you these old Grail pieces, especially when they started doing these re-releases, like the Mark 47, for instance. And I was like, Hot Toys isn't doing this because they give a damn about you. They don't care if you're paying $800 for these figures. I don't know how much the Whiplash really ever sold for. I don't think it was ever like a really expensive Grail piece, but I don't think many of them were produced in the first place. Matter of fact, in the original one, it literally says limited edition collectible figurine, and this one says just collector's figure. So it is kind of a kick in the nuts for it to say limited edition, and knowing that there was only a small run of them, of however many they ran, which Hot Toys is very tight-lipped on their production numbers, to know now that they are releasing it again to pretty much an unlimited quantity as to how many of it that they'll sell. So that's a kick in the pants as far as that goes. But it's nice to see that it is being made available to some of you guys that missed out, because I'm not getting rid of mine. You're not going to buy mine. I'm not going to sell it. But I wonder why. What's the importance of it? Why would they be releasing the Whiplash Mark One? What's the story that requires this to be in our hands now? What's coming on? What's going on? What's coming up? Is he going to get his own show? Is he going to be part of the Taskmaster and Black Widow and all of that? Because it's a backwards movie. Is he going to be in that? I don't know. I really have no idea. I don't. But it is quite interesting that of all the figures and of all the movies, they would re-release a villain in his first incarnation of the suit 10 years later, or whatever it's been, 8 years later or something. I find that really interesting. Really interesting. If you're going to rehash figures, redo a Christopher Reeve Superman. Yeah, heck yeah. Come on, everyone would love a Christopher Reeve Superman. Give him a better outfit, second Clark Kent head sculpt, and Daily Planet newspapers. Hell yeah. 100% agree with you there. All 3 Superman 2 villains. Go for it, right? I would love to see them re-release Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's. Right? While they're cranking out Spider-Man, crank them out. Crank out all the crank them all out. By golly, give me 1960s. Give me 1960s Spider-Man. Go for it. Go for broke. Throw them all out there. Give it all. Let's have them all. I was hoping that they, when I seen the Whiplash, I was like, well, maybe they've given a seamless body. That would have been great if they did that, or something. A lot of collectors don't like the seamless body because of the posability in regards to what you cannot necessarily put them into the specific poses on. But with whenever you have a body that's visible in that capacity or that manner, especially with all the artwork and detail on it, man, seamless definitely should have been the way to go. But I think literally they just pulled the file up out of the computer, stuck it in the machine, and said, crank this bad boy up again. Because I see no difference in the body at all. So that would have been nice if that had been what they did, but I don't believe that they are doing that at all. Yeah, I want my bird. Give him his damn bird, right? Give him that cockatoo. It's not my bird. I want my bird. And oh, really? Hawkeyes landed in the UK. Both of them? Screw Thor, who's waiting for Jane Foster Thor. There was a knockoff that had made one of those. I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but there's a Jane Foster Thor out there. Kinda. You know what I mean? So, I hate to say a knockoff. It's not really a knockoff, but Homecoming Michelle. Yeah, I want a Michelle. Again, I have no problem with Michelle. I have a problem with her being MJ. I have no problem with him having a relationship with her. I don't give a damn. He had a relationship with Gwen Stacy. He had a relationship with Betty Bryant. He has had a long time relationship with Felicia Hardy. It makes no difference to me if he's having a relationship with Michelle. It doesn't matter to me, don't at all. It's another universe. It's the pseudo MCU universe. I'm assuming it's MCU universe. It's where he's been, even though he's in the Sony universe as well. But Sony has many universes, obviously. Marvel has many universes. So I have no problem in being with Michelle. I just have a problem with her being Mary Jane. I have a problem with her calling herself MJ. That's my problem. But she's not MJ. Mary Jane's name wasn't Michelle. Unless, like I said, for whatever reason, Mary Jane maybe is her middle name, or Mary Jane's her first name. She just decided to go with Michelle because Mary Jane was her mother's name or her aunt's name, and she didn't much care for Mary Jane because she thought it was too, I don't know, whatever, too old fashioned, and so she wanted to go with her middle name, or hell, she's renamed herself to Michelle. Give me any excuse whatsoever to call her MJ and have it still be Mary Jane. I'm cool. Throw Mary Jane in there somewhere, but not Michelle. Michelle is not Mary Jane. Now, if her name is Mary Jane Michelle, whatever her last name is, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I'm cool with that. If her name is Michelle Mary Jane, whatever, I'm cool with that. Obviously, Mary Jane's last name was Watson, and so I don't think Michelle's last name was Watson. Was it? I don't think it was. Was her last name Johnson? Is that why she said MJ? I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember. But yeah, give me that character. I want a new Pepper Potts. That's what I really want. I mean, just a normal Pepper. Because the only Pepper that we have really doesn't look like her. It works. I mean, you tell me that's Pepper Potts. I got a Pepper Potts here. I'm happy it's Pepper Potts. It really isn't necessarily a good likeness of her. Give me a Pepper Potts. That's what I really want. Jane 34, Jane Thor. J. Jonah Jameson, of course, he goes all the way back to Tobey Maguire. Sick of Peter Parker, love life. His love life sucks. He needs dating tips from Batman, no doubt. Well, that was his whole thing. That was part of what made him, what's the word I'm looking for? Relatable? Because if you remember, the dating world, or especially when you're a teenager, high school sucked. Being a teenager sucked. It was not easy for anybody. Even the coolest kids, I'm sure, had difficulty. I was never one of the coolest kids, but I'm sure even they had their problems. So, where are we at? Tumbler out front. Oh yeah, Scarecrow, gas in the city. Tells Gordon, "Can you drive stick?" Gordon nods head. No automatic. Batman's face. Are you fucking kidding me? Peter goes out with chicks named MJ. Easier to remember the names. Good plan. Ooh, MJ. Ding. Yeah, that's not the case. Come on, Betty Bryant. Betty Bryant? Betty Bryant? Betty Bryant. Betty Bryant? It's Betty Bryant, right? And Gwen Stacy. And Felicia Hardy. Unlike the DC where they all have like first name, last name, same thing, Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, or some of the others. Lots of them where they did that. Same initials front and back. This guy will be posed with my Daredevil. I need to get the Netflix Punisher so badly. I want that. I hate that I passed on that. What the hell? Look at this. Hot Toys. What are you guys doing? I mean, it's just a plastic bag, but are you really that lazy? Come on, guys. What the fuck? That's interesting. But they can't even they can't even put a box in a bag with care and compassion. Can they make the tape any longer? They can't even put the box in the bag with care and compassion. How the hell is the figure going to be put together? It's a neat box. I love the box art. If I had a warehouse where I could display all my figures in, I would surely display the box art somewhere near the figure. Look at that, cast into the foam. That's really super neat. Has this matte finish and smooth finish over it. Feels really nice. This is cool. A lot of work went into this. Let's see who did the box. Armor painter. Interesting. Must be talking about the package designer Zenith ZC and Monster Jr. Armor painter must be talking about the skull on the chest plate. One thing I thought was interesting when I seen the love the smell of a new Hot Toys. One thing I thought was interesting when I seen this first, black instead of gray. All the other ones are gray, right? I don't think I've seen a black one yet. And there was no arc reactor on the front of that chest plate. I was like, how the hell does this thing get powered? And then I noticed, or somebody pointed out, that there's actually an arc reactor underneath the chest plate. I think one of you guys pointed that out. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is actually the actress plays Wasp. What? Kirsten Dunst was Mary Jane. Which actress are you talking about? It's interesting looking at these hands. The first thing that came to my mind was War Machine Mark II. Loving the dark gray and the light gray on the stomach. Very unique. I will not be using the head sculpt more than likely. And I guess it's from the video game. I love the little hairpiece they did there on that head sculpt. Is that going to focus in for us? We need some light on this. I hate turning the light on and washing everything out. But I hate when there's not enough light and it makes it all dark. There you go. I'm digging the little hair lick popping off the top there. Do they do that with the Superman figures? You guys know? Any of you have any of the Supermans? Do they have the little extra hair piece there popping out like that? That's pretty cool. I mean, it looks like what I would imagine a Frank Castle to look like. You know, tough, gritty guy. But I think if I were going to put a head sculpt on here, I would find the Netflix head sculpt and put it on here. But I'm not putting a head sculpt on this. I'm keeping the helmet on. The helmet's awesome. And I'll show you. Have a look at this, guys. I really need to figure out which one he is. Betty Brant is the MCU. What? You are kidding me. How about that? That's awesome. An Arnold head. Sarah Connor. That was a terrible Arnold impersonation. What the hell was that? I don't even know what that was. Sarah Connor. Can't do an Arnold, man. I'll be back. Can't do it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Certainly doesn't sound like an Arnold. I'll be back. Can't do it. I thought everyone could do an Arnold impersonation. Evidently, I cannot. Because that didn't sound anything like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because I'm pulling the hands out, and this is a interesting piece. I'm assuming this is how they attach the head and neck in here. It's interesting neck cowl. Very different from anything I've seen before from any other head and neck. What I also find interesting is that no War Machine has ever had a full-on Rhodey head in it that I can remember, which is kind of disappointing. So Frank Castle gets a full-on head. Rhodey doesn't. Was there ever one that gave him a full head? You guys remember any of them? I think Rhodey's always in a head sculpt, in a helmet, right? So this is interesting. Instead of it just being a neck cowl, it actually snaps in. So for whatever reason, they did this. So where's Rhodey's head? I'd like a Rhodey head. Interesting. Hadn't thought of it until this guy came out, and there's not one. Of course, you're going to want to read the instructions on this. Any Iron Man suit whatsoever, you're going to want to read the instructions. And I always find it so interesting when they first came out with the diecast figures, they said never put them onto these types of figure stands. And then these are the figure stands they provide us. They don't hold shit. They don't hold a doggone thing. They certainly don't hold a diecast figure up. The crotch grabber. This crotch grabber ain't holding shit. They ain't holding diecast nothing. So the good thing is the figures will stand on their own for the most part, but you're not going to get any posability out of it. You're not getting a flight pose out of it. The gosh darn thing can fly. What the fuck? I'm curious, though, haven't seen this in a while, if we have the holes here for the others. If you remember, traditionally, whenever we had this figure stand, there were actually 4 holes in it. They just were underneath the artwork, which would enable you to put the flight articulated stand into it. You could put the full-on flight pole in here, just poke out the holes. I can't necessarily feel through this. This is really thick. It may not. It may be a new casting that doesn't have it, but I'm assuming it probably does. If you wanted to be for sure safe, you can just unscrew it and take it apart and then look, or you can just be brave and just start poking it with a knife and seeing if the holes are there. I'm not sure what I will do. I'm not sure whether or not I'll be posing him on this or just have him standing on his own in that regards. So I might just put this behind him as such. But if you were to try to put him into any type of a interesting pose, this is going to be almost an impossibility with the weight of this figure. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you. So these are solid fists on here, right? Why do they feel like they're made of rubber? Like they are made of rubber. I've never seen that. This little fist is pliable. Have you guys ever seen that before? Now the back piece is a it's pliable also. This entire fist is pliable. I don't believe I've seen that in any of the Iron Man suits. This one is too. The one with the little were they missiles that came out of here, or were those like electrical shocking? I don't remember. This one's also pliable, as well as the repulsor hand. So now I think I remember these type of hands with the first run of Iron Man back in the day, but I don't remember any of them being pliable of late. I mean, this is soft rubber. Is my memory failing me? And they're all this pliable. It's just been a long time since I fondled one. Fondled. I'm really not fondling them. I'm examining them. Um, the diecast. I mean the articulated fingers. You know what? Even they feel like a soft plastic. The hand is hard. Why am I fascinated by this? Is this new, or has my brain just literally discarded this information from other Iron Man figures and such? I don't know what. So of course you get two articulated hands. You get two repulsor hands. Like I said, I remember this from like the original Iron Man, like I think the Mark IV, etc. had this, but I don't remember any of the new ones having this. Why am I just don't remember this. And then you have these, and you have fists. I'll check the chat, see if you guys are giving me an answer as to what's going on with that. Picard head, Mr. Bean head. You lost your mind, Robert. Crossbones. I wish they would made a decent crossbones. I've got my crossbones over here still, trying to get him together, that I got from AI. Who was it made that? It's called AI Doll, or something like that. I don't remember who was it made that. Was that the name of the company? I don't know. Some of y'all don't care for these. I like these effects. I really do. And so these are different, if I remember correctly, effects for coming from the weapons, is what this one is. And here's a different one right here. And they have a little place they connect into. And then we have two of these right here as well. And if I remember correctly, these all go into the weapons. There's the other one. And these batteries, they're all the small ones. 1, 2, 4. Head, chest, and hands. Normally they give you bigger ones for the chest. There's not even a repulsor thruster you can even see without taking off that chest piece. And I'm not going to put the batteries in, guys. It's just not worth it for me. It's so much work to put them in. I'll never turn them on. One of these days I'm going to buy or make an AC power unit, and I'll put those in, because then it'll be just a simple click in and out, and something to even live in. But until I do, I won't be lighting up any of my figures. It's just not worth it. It's really, truthfully not worth it. The batteries explode, they fall apart, and all sorts of radical stuff. It's just not worth it. Got a big, huge Gatling gun here. And a traditional War Machine style shoulder cannon. So obviously the Punisher, once he's gotten a hold of this suit, which I don't know what the story is as to how he would have got a hold of one of Rhodey's suits. He's outfitted it with his own weaponry. And shoulder missiles. I'm assuming got 2 of these. I'm assuming go up in the shoulders areas. Looks like there's a magnet attachment, possibly. Hard to say. And finally, 2 of these. Well, not finally. We have the belt for the gun. And then finally, all the way to the floor, I'm assuming these are alternate arm cannons from what he has on here. Jeez. Picked it up. Let's set all this aside. Cool box. It's a really cool box. Like I said, I would so display the box art. I don't have room to display all my figures. So again, welcome. Happy Independence Day to those of you from the United States. So many people call it the 4th of July. It's called Independence Day for us. It goes along with the old joke of, do they have a 4th of July in England? And most people will sit there and think about it for a minute and say, well, no, they don't, because it's the American holiday celebrating independence from England. And it's like, oh, yeah, they have a 4th of July. Comes after the 3rd and before the 5th. So, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. If you even know what that truthfully even means. So sad. This younger generation don't understand a lot of stuff, what's going on. I think they do. Overeducated and under-intelligent. Intelligent? Overeducated. Under-knowledged. That's better description. Graduating Harvard University and don't have any ability to differentiate right from wrong. I don't get you guys, man. I do not get you guys anymore. Love the paint scheme on this. It's definitely different from any War Machine. So if you're a War Machine collector, an armor collector, this is definitely going to complement that collection. The slits in that look at how narrow those are. I don't remember any of the War Machines being that narrow. They might be. Might be. God, I love these. These War Machines are so bulky. Love it. So is there a story in the video game? What video game is this from? Future Flight? Future Fight? Is that the name of the video game? Is there a story as to how he gets a hold of War Machine's armor? Because one thing I've always theorized, that's why I bought the secondary Hall of Armor, is that Rhodey has a Hall of Armor for his War Machines as well. I'd like to believe that. Why not? Maybe they're sitting at the Smithsonian National Air Museum. Top comes off from the back in order to put the battery in, by the way. Faceplate is not designed to come off at all. Matter of fact, it is definitely molded differently than the others. The odds of being able to take this off, this faceplate off, easily are going to be pretty much slim to none. Now, it could be done, but you're going to destroy. If you wanted to make a head sculpt with this, which I've done many for my Iron Man figures, so I've looked at these face plates to determine how they can come off easily. I can tell you right now, to take this guy's faceplate off, you're going to destroy the helmet. I mean, destroy it. Every faceplate I've been able to take off of the helmet, I've still been able to use both the helmet and the faceplate after putting the head sculpt inside of it. If you want to put a custom head sculpt in here, in order to get this faceplate off of this helmet, you're going to destroy the base of the helmet. In order to get the and then you're going to have a base helmet, so you're going to have to destroy the faceplate. It's going to take you 2 of these to make one. I can guarantee you that looking at this, because the entire piece is molded, the entire piece is. But you would ideally need to cut it so that the chin would still stay on here. And I can tell looking at this, this wasn't molded as 2 pieces. I mean, I might be wrong. Let me get my glasses on. Because it's truthfully fun. If you ever want to take a task of trying to put a head inside of a helmet, as I've done, it's really a neat, fun little task. A lot of work and a lot of braveness of destroying your $400 piece. No, this... Let me examine this really closely here. Because I'm curious, for my own personal reasons as well. I mean, there's a slim chance it might be a separate piece glued on it. I mean, a very slim chance. And what it appears is what is glued on it, though, is the jaw and everything. Not just where the dividing line, which would be here, where it comes from the ear and then goes down and then separates into the mouth. There should be a separation there for the faceplate to come off. I guarantee you this piece is not attached to this piece. I guarantee you this entire piece is, all the way down here to this jawline, is the piece that's attached onto it. And I suppose you could do that. It would be easier to do that, to separate this from that. But I have a feeling that that's not truthfully how... I mean, thinking of any other Iron Man and War Machine helmet, the way the face mask comes off, there's always the chin that stays on the bottom. This is all one piece. What appears to me that this is all one entire piece here, glued onto this. So you would have to separate that. And that's going to be what's going to destroy the 2 pieces. So you're going to have to need 2 of these if you wanted to do that. But it can be done. You can put Netflix in there or whatever you wanted to. Like you said, put a Jean-Luc Picard or Chris Reeves, whoever you want to put in here, right? That's pretty cool, though. I love the ingenuity and the cleverness in the design. Good job. if they'd have done that with this Crossbones, right? Why couldn't they do that with Crossbones? Huh? But yeah, I'm digging this head sculpt. Digging it a lot. One little Crossbones box here. Art figures, thank you. And they call it the AI doll, right? I'm curious if the eyes light up when you have the arc reactor on. Yeah, they will. Black. It would have been cool if they were red. Black smoked glass on that. That is definitely translucent, I guess would be the word. He looks great. Again, I always loved the War Machine style figures. And that's 100% what this is. I'll get this, what is it, War Machine 4 over here. Get them down for comparison. See if he's a War Machine 4, War Machine 3, or his own incarnation, right? Nice smooth motion, butterfly joints here in the shoulders. I'm so happy that they finally got that working good. Some of the older ones didn't function well. The original ones of the Iron Man figures. And you know what? It's so risky not putting batteries in these because I literally have had figures where the lights didn't work on them. And you only have 30 days to file a claim. And if you're not the original purchaser, you got no days to file a claim. If you buy it from a collector or something, you're on your own, buddy. You are on your own. All the traditional little nuances and abilities. Extendable waist, extendable legs. Double jointed knee. Get up there for a good bend back. Surely didn't mean to take that off. If you ever wonder how sometimes the photographers will put them into a pose that you cannot, it's because they disconnect the figures and their hips and their arms and shoulders to get them into that. Owie! I had my little finger in there and I pinched it back as I was setting it up. Don't do that. That hurted. A lot of pieces here I don't recognize on War Machine. But then again, I was like mind blown over to Mark IV, and I'm looking at the Mark III, and I'm like, why the hell I was mind blown over to Mark III? So it's like every piece again is brand new to me. All right, let's get see how easy it is to get this neck out of here. It's not. I looked at what Marvel movies toys did not make the villain for Thor 1 and 2 Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, where's Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy? And what the hell happened to him? All of a sudden Thanos has his Infinity Stone? Are we going to get an explanation to that? Ant-Man 1 and Captain America. Yeah, where's the Wasp? Captain America 3, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man 1, Captain Marvel. For real, how about Captain Marvel's team when she was with the Oh, Jesus, help me out, guys. Or they all wore the green. Hot Toys showed us a green Captain Marvel. For real, how difficult would it have been made to make one? I, give me the whole team. I'm not kidding you. I haven't used the knife here, guys. I really don't want to. Okay. So that's pulled down. I started to put my knife in there, but this is a soft rubber here. So I didn't want to cut or break it. So then I just grabbed this and pulled to his chest. It came right out. This is very interesting that it did this like this. Very interesting indeed. That's a shallow, very shallow neck hole there, if you can see that. I mean, super shallow. Looks good. No, I can't. I thought I had it snapped on there. And it feels like it's on there. It just comes right out. Let's do this. Sounds like, can you see that well? Is the light blocking it off? It looks good on there. Move his head up. Oh man, there's just not enough post up inside that neck hole. I mean, I'll never pose him like this. He will not be posed with at all with this. Come on, the helmet's the whole story. But there he is. It looks great, man. I mean, it really looks good. If you wanted to kit bash and build you a plainclothes Punisher, that'd be cool. But then again, still, I suppose I would use the Netflix Punisher, truthfully. I mean, there's been many Punisher movies over the years, right? 2, 3. How many have there been? Punisher, he's the serious anti-hero. Same type of a story, just different motivation, which got him to become the Punisher. You know, all of his stories, different background and education as to what made him to be able to do what he does. I never remember the name of the guy in the chair or the guy in the van. You know, Miguel O'Hara had a guy in the van, right? Didn't he? Or am I confused there? Is it Miguel O'Hara or Miguel O'Hara? Zero, 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 baby. 000. So not only has Frank Castle acquired this from War Machine, he's ripped the number clean off of it. come on now. Don't do this to me. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Try and move this stuff out of the way so I can get to my War Machine over here. And I was going to type into the computer. I can't get my mouse to respond. There we go. Punisher War Machine is very dangerous. Yes, he is. I love it, Punisher. Heads, face mask there, both beautiful. Micro is the name of Punisher's man. Thank you in the chair is a Netflix Punisher show. You can watch next show without watching all of the others. I was watching the Punisher series. I didn't watch all of the Daredevil series, and so I'm assuming then that Punisher made his appearance in Daredevil first. And when I'm watching the Punisher series, I'm trying to show my wife Punisher, and she's like, "So where's this Punisher outfit?" And I don't know how many we got through, a handful of them, and I've never seen him dress up as the Punisher. And I was like, "I don't know, baby. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I'm sorry." So I'm wondering then if he was like only the Punisher in Daredevil. Maybe you guys can figure that out for me to let me know. I love this pose I put this War Machine in. Works great to have him sitting just like this. You see how much weight is put on this pole alone, this flight pole. I mean, these figures are demanding, these die-cast figures, the War Machines especially, very demanding on these. And then they give you a plastic crotch grabber with a little wire piece in there. Give me a freaking break. So, no, this is not the same figure here, for fact. And this is the War Machine number 4. So let's get number 3 down. Got him up here behind us. Whoa, hello. What is this? Glare right there in the camera. Sorry, guys. I've been having problems with my back. You may hear a huge exclamation, maybe some cursing, and some spasming as I pinch my nerve standing up. Bear with me, please. That was okay. That was well. Oh. So here's the Mark III. Punisher. All right, so we got a Mark III. Yeah, that's definitely a Mark III. Full on Mark III. So of course the difference being, obviously, besides the paint scheme, is a couple of the weapons. Let's see if we can find this War Machine face mask. Hopefully he's filed away properly. I want to see how the face mask opens on War Machine here. Okay, so there you go. Now, let's look at this logically in regards to if you were to purchase one of these, could you turn it into one of those? Which could be a time saver in regards to making a head sculpt in out of this. Same size slot. It just looks smaller for some unknown reason. Same size slot. So what I would do if you were willing to, if you wanted to make a Punisher head sculpt, okay, I'd buy one of these, a Punisher. Shit! I hope I didn't damage the paint job on that. Dude bounced like 4 times. Oh my God. Jesus. I have nothing else that's battle damaged it, right? Okay, so I'd buy one of these Punisher head sculpts, and then I would get a hold of one of these War Machine Mark III head sculpts, okay? And I would do my damnedest to try to match up this paint on this. Maybe could possibly separate it at the ear all the way around and put this top on here to save you some time. There is a slight difference in the paint application between these two. They're not identically painted. It's not the same graphite gray or whatever color that is. This one's a little lighter than the Punisher one. And then you would want to continue painting once you get this. You really need to get this Punisher color. All right? Get you one of these. Take the faceplate off. Paint the whole thing the color of the Punisher helmet. Okay? So you've already got the baseline of this. Then after you bought one of these, cut off this faceplate to put it on there. And then you could use the magnets from here to do that. So it could be done. It could be done quite easily. And then just throw you in there, whatever head sculpt you want in there. Netflix Punisher, whomever you want to put in there. Dolph, anybody you want to be Punisher. Because this is jointed. And that's going to be difficult to duplicate with this. But it can be done. If you truthfully want to put a head sculpt on here. I love head sculpts. I really do. I on the War Machines, most of them, I'm displaying only the head sculpt, if I remember correctly, on the current one that's out. All the others that I have displayed up in the Hall of Armor, pretty sure don't have any of the head sculpts in there. But if you were curious about that, that's how I would have that done. And these are also rubbery. So again, my memory has just faded out of me, and I didn't remember him having rubber hands. But I guess he does. That feels like a solid hand. No, hard to say. Let's look at this. Where's it at? Right here. Guess they're the same. It's just interesting to me. I mean, I forget these things. But straight up, this is a Mark III. Sure enough. 100%. I don't forget which one of these hands is whose. Whose. Okay. War Machines is cleaner. Punisher's is more battle damaged. Oh God, what did I just do? If I don't get this straightened out right now, I'll be in trouble. Come on. What the hell are you doing here? Articulated, repulsor, articulated, repulsor, fist, right hand, left hand fist. What the hell did I do, guys? Oh my God. The mind is a terrible thing when you lose it. Okay, so we have the left-hand fist on War Machine here. So that means the left-hand fist in my little stack here belongs to War Machine. Punisher. Left-hand fist. Whew. Wait. It's the wrong one. Left-hand fist with the missiles up. Oh my God. Put these away before we lose them. How's that look? Not the same, is it? War Machine, guys, I'm sure you're pretty pleased about this. It's unfortunate. It's so interesting. For instance, they've made the War Machine Mark One, and then of course you have the War Machine Mark One diecast, and you have the War Machine Milk, the black and white one, and then you had the War Machine Mark Two, War Machine Mark Two, New Avengers, and War Machine Mark Two from the movie. So 3 of those in the exact same one, and the Hot Rod. So 4 of those suits are the same one. Mark II. Mark III, Mark III. So we got 3 original diecasts of the one, 3 Mark IIs and the Hot Rod, 2 Mark IIIs and the Mark IV. So truthfully, if you're just collecting War Machine armors, there's 10 of them right there that are available, now. But there's really only, the plastic Mark One and the diecast Mark Ones, there's 2. And then the other Mark II, although there's 4 iterations of that, that's 3 different suits. And then the Mark III is 4 different suits, and the Mark IV is 5 different suits. So there's 5 different suits for 10 different armors. Doing the math. Let's put his weapons on him. Let's look at the instructions before I end up breaking my figure. And I tell you, sometimes it's easier for me to reference the video on these instructions. So many times I've forgotten how to take something apart or articulate it. So I'll just go back to the videos. So I'm doing this also for my benefit. So I can go back in here and say, oh, what the hell was that? AG1LR621 are the batteries. AG1LR621 are the batteries. Cleverly disguised battery in the back here. Again, it's the War Machine Mark III, guys. That whole piece comes off to get to the back battery. Right there, just lift it up from the thumb. Dead center, the middle of his back pack. That's where that is. Right there. Do not use other figure stands or else the weight of this figure is going to damage the figure base stand. Yeah, I'm going to say bullshit on that. I'll tell you, man, I love these articulated flight pose. And if the holes are here, get you like, I think it was Vision that actually came with it. And put those pieces in there, crank it up. I think Spider-Man come with them too. But for fact, if I decide to pose them on this, I believe I would do that. Because it is pretty cool to put them into, you know, I like this pose. I think this is great. And you can't do that with that figure stand. It can't be done. So, I dig this. Oh, interesting. So the these other rockets go under on the bottom, evidently, according to this instruction manual. Shoulder armor contains a joint and will automatically adjust its position when posing. You're kidding me. Automatically adjust its position. No way. It doesn't automatically adjust to every position. It does slightly move out of the way, though, as you're doing slight poses. Same thing, only different, right? So this looks like the exact same gun that's on the Mark III. Why am I not able to get it in there? I don't understand why they never included like a closed up portion of this. You know what I mean? I understand you might not be able to fold it in, but shouldn't there be like a closed up portion, or was the gun always out? Is that how it worked? Did the gun never like retract fully in? It was always out. It's pretty neat. You can put it back. Many different little articulations there with it. I'm really digging that. That's pretty cool. I'll show you that. Rip his little hand off his wrist. So once you get it into position, you can fold it up, tuck it away, which will give you that forward look, side look. And then it slides back and forth. You can have it anywhere from down to up and forward. So that's pretty cool. But I guess, I mean, I just don't understand why there's not a cover for this where you can just remove this. Or is it always out? I don't know. I really don't know. A little flashing on there, and this one from the plastic mold. Full 360. Some flashing on the back too. Sloppy, sloppy Hot Toys. What the hell are you guys doing? You're forgetting the term that's coined because of you guys? Hot Toys quality? Daredevil Season 2, the last half of that season, it's basically the prequel to The Punisher show. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm assuming he looks just like, as we imagine the Punisher should look. Whereas in the Punisher series, I've never seen him. In the episodes that I've seen, look as the Punisher. Still have War Machine Civil War. Mark 15 Retro. Mark 15 Retro. The red and gold Mark 15 Retro. I love the Mark 15. I wish there was an explanation about all that special hand these guys got. Two different hands, two different forearms on that. We got nothing. I would love to see like an Iron Man movie that discussed all those little figures. If it's just even like a 5-minute blurb, I mean, a lot can be learned in 5 minutes on these suits. I would love to see the suits doing something for 5 minutes. For real. I really would. I would love to see an explanation from 8 to 41. We really don't need one for the 38. Igor, it'd be nice to know where the hell he slept. Denobi discusses that, kind of, where he didn't really have a home. And we know about Mark 41 because it was the prehensile prototype to the Mark 42, so we know why that would be. But let's get an explanation on all the others. You know, was the Mark 21 Midas just a show off? Is that why he did the gold? Bit ostentatious, don't you think, sir? Where were we? Yes. Did I show you guys this page? I think I picked it up and started putting it together after looking at it. Forgive me for not sharing it with you. Attach the ammo belt to the minigun and indicated area on back of figure. I see. Attach the minigun to the shoulder shown. Indicated part of minigun is rotatable. Which indicated part? The back? I see. And purpose of this would be... what? So the back of the Gatling gun, or the minigun as they call it, this portion back here where the belt feeds into it, which... interesting. There's only one side that's feedable. The other side, I guess, is a discharge. Is rotatable. I don't know why. Now, maybe it doesn't make any sense. Because the post is here, right? And it only goes in one spot, right? This is where you go. I want you to go on there. There we go. What is the purpose of this being rotatable? I mean, the ammo belt is flexible. I don't understand why it was important for this to be rotatable. What am I missing out on here? Why can't I get the ammo belt into the minigun? Alright, so that's in there now. I don't know. There's just not. It's just not that much of a mobility issue to mean that I don't get it. So couldn't tell you. Trying to figure out if I can put this into a pose that requires me to rotate this belt clip. I wonder if I put it in this way. See if this does any different with the short end going into the back. Shows the short end going into the gun though. What happens if we put the short end going into the back? Okay. Now does that make it any different in regards to the rotating back of the minigun? Does that make any difference at all? I don't know, maybe get it up out of the head? I don't know. If we do it this way. Okay. All right, so I guess I can see now a point for having that rotating, because what I did was as I moved the gun to the side, all right, and moved his head over here a little bit, I was able to spin the back of this to rearticulate this belt, cartridge belt, going into the gun there. So, okay, I see a point for that being able to rotate, I guess. Maybe. So using your creativity, you can figure out a good pose with this and this to do that. And I will work on that. So that makes sense, I guess. Shoulder missile launches pieces. Of course, we're going to have to put these in. Then I have to look at my Mark III to see how the heck they open. In the world. For the life of me. Are you kidding me? Come on, it's got to be the same piece. It's like right here. Why can't I open that? There we go. Sheesh. Dude, for real, this is more work than it should be. You know, if they had any sense about it, they put a magnet on there and you can just lift it with a hand magnet. Right? Like they do with Spidey's eyes. Deadpool's eyes. Come on. Dude, for real. I cannot get in here with my fingernail. I hate using a knife on these guys. I for real do. Open right up with a knife. Try to scratch them. Is there left and right? They appear pretty universal. Oh. These are different. Okay. On the right is War Machine's missiles. And that's Punisher's missiles. So, I mean, on my right, on your left, are the two different missiles. See if the bays are the same size. They are. And War Machine's missile will fit in there, obviously. They are definitely a different appearance, though, when placed in there. Two different ones. Very interesting. And yeah, they're interchangeable. So that's a welcome sight to see a little difference there. If you guys can see that, the War Machine one sticks out further than the Punisher. And they're interchangeable, they're swappable. You have the two different pieces if you wanted to put that in there. So that's pretty cool. Needless to say, we don't get this on here. We do get the same underguns, right? Different overguns. Where are we? Yeah, did I show you guys that? And again, like I said, this is also for my own reference because when I go back to reposition and remove or repackage these, nice to know where everything was. You know what's neat about these flame effects is interchangeable. So, for instance, if you feel so inclined and you don't want to have all the flames coming out of the Punisher here, this flame can go on War Machine's gun. Okay? So, for instance, if you feel there's too much flame going on, if you decide to display the flame, I like the flames. There's a lot of you that don't. So I'll be displaying the flames. But if you decide that there's too much flaming going on here with the Punisher, you can put the flame on War Machine. What am I doing wrong? There we go. That looks cool. I mean, for real. But this one can go on the Punisher. I mean, the War Machine. It only goes on one way. There's a recessed area where the top of the gun goes. Now my War Machine's going back into the Mark Hall of Armor set, so I won't be having the flame coming out of the firearm. But there you go. You can see that it fits on there. Ghost Tav, how's it going, Rick? I am going to attempt to get the Iron Man Mark IV holographic, and I'm going to attempt to get the Spider-Man 2099 black suit for fact. If I can get those, I've enrolled into their little sideshow con, whatever they want to call it. And yeah, I'm happy to get the 2099 suit. I hate that they're making it limited. By the way, thanks for the advice. I've ordered the Mark 7 diecast. There you go, man. You're going to love it. Until you receive a coupon of $25, right? To hell. I never get to use the coupons I get from Sideshow. Like, ever. I get coupons all the damn time, and I don't think I've ever used any. Because none of them ever work on anything I want to buy. So, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, I've got coming in the Spider-Gwen, made by Bullet Head, I think. Ordered 2 of her, and I got notifications to pay for her the same day I got notification to pay for my War Machine Punisher. So this came from Big Bad Toy Store, which is in Minnesota, I think. I don't remember. Whereas Spider-Gwen's coming from Hong Kong. So sometimes she also takes 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, could be even longer, as things are right now. So I hope I will have her by next week. If not, I also have ordered and have received. Oh man, I'll show you all that. I've got 3 other things I've got. I want to show you. I want to show you these things. So stick with me till the end here, man. We're going to get through this, and I'll show you the other things that I've got. I'm working on. Tell us how you and the wife. Okay, I'll tell you about that. Instead of a knife, could you use the plastic tool Hot Toys includes for their batteries? I'm going to say possibly not, because it was really super. I mean, I couldn't get my thumbnail in there, dude. I mean, I don't have like thin thumbnails. I mean, I guess they're like normal size, like for everybody. So it's not as thin as the knife, but it's thinner than the plastic pliers or tweezers that Hot Toys gives you, right? Maybe not. Jeez, come on. You guys make me feel so stupid sometimes. You might be able to do this to get in there. It's kind of thin, but not. I don't think it's as thin as my thumbnail. But I couldn't even get my thumbnail in there. I had to use the knife. But as soon as I stuck the knife in there, it popped right open. It wasn't like it was stuck or anything. It was just like the little crack was just so narrow. I couldn't get it in there. So there's my answer to that. You know, I never use any of these batteries. I have a box full of batteries. I'll gladly sell batteries to you guys if you ever needed. Let's see the front view. Can you put the minigun in other War Machine like the Mark II? No. The Mark II works differently. It's a slot, and this is a post, ball jointed post. The Mark II is a slot. So the Mark III and the Mark II minigun is not interchangeable. I'm sure you could probably figure out a way of customizing it to get in there, but on the back of the Mark II is a groove that goes around as such, and it fits in there in that slot, so you can put it on left or right side of that. So no, not easily. Which one do I prefer if you can only choose one? The War Machine Mark IV or the Punisher War Machine? I'm gonna have to say the Mark IV. The Mark IV is just total badass. Um, if you're only gonna get one, you know what I mean? It's two totally different pieces. This is the Mark III, and that's the Mark IV. The Mark IV is just, it's just badass. Um, but if you're a Daredevil Punisher fan, I mean, why would you not get the Punisher? The skull and all that is just super cool, and the flame effect. If you're a fan of that, how can you go wrong there? And back to the flame effect. You get these two as well. Knocked his hand off a long while back. But yeah, for a fact, this guy will be getting posed up as such, just as he is. So in that regards, you know, I'll be putting the Mark III and the Mark IV in an action pose. But when the Mark V comes out, the Mark IV will be going up into the Hall of Armor, into the stationary museum pose, if you will. I don't know, what do you guys call the non-action pose? Museum pose? The action poses are fun if you can get a good action pose where they will stay in it. See if we have a left and right on this undergun. I'm sure there is. I don't see an L and an R, but there is a noticeable difference in each of them. I'm going to put, because there appears to be like a top and a bottom to that, if you know. I'm going to assume like that's the top and that's the bottom, I guess. So I'm going to put it so like that is on the outside. If it matters. I don't know. Yeah, why would you not have, if you're gonna pump these, if you're gonna pump rounds out of this guy, put all the guns on him, right? I don't even know if Punisher would even use the repulsor blast. I think he would just be like unleashing rounds all over the place. For real, dude, this is very delicately balanced piece. The weight of him is great. I like the War Machine Mark III. I hated the fact that they were making him like, with the baton, like less violent or whatever. He's the War Machine. He's not the less violent machine. But it is neat that that lights up kind of a yellow, if I remember correctly. I might end up putting him into this type of a pose. I don't know. It's looking pretty sweet. See how much we can get and still maintain a weight distribution. We gotta get this ammo belt on him. So funny, like a few minutes ago, I had no idea why this thing would even rotate. Now I'm like, I get it. I met my wife playing online video games. She's a gamer. Gamer chick, right? Gamer girls are fun. Find you a gamer chick, man. They're a blast. We met each other many years ago. It's always good when you find someone that loves you for you. So I encourage you that if you have to fight to get your woman to love you, if you have to do stuff to make her like you, if she's not pleased with you without you like totally having to submit to her every whim, you might want to re-examine your relationship. I hate to say it, but my wife loved taking care of me. She's not in the capacity to do that anymore, and I reaped the benefit of her love, of her taking care of me, and now I 100% am taking care of her. Just tough, but it's always nice when you love somebody, when you still have that love for them. I'll never stop loving my wife. She is a wonderful woman. Very fortunate that I found her. Or she found me. We found each other. Yeah, playing video games. You never know love. You'll never know truthfully where love is, or how you'll meet them or find them. She was a badass. Put a weapon in her hand in a video game. She's racking up some points, dude. I'll tell you that much. She was a badass. She doesn't do any gaming anymore. She just can't process quickly like that anymore. It's unfortunate. It really sucks. Really enjoyed playing games with her. Life is a complete bitch when it throws you a curveball like that. Screws everything up. But you have to have that foundation of love. So when the shit hits the fan, you can always fall back on the love you share for each other. If you're always having to work for the love, I don't know how deep that foundation is going to be when the shit hits the fan. And trust me, the shit's going to hit the fan. Pretty rare will you go through life without having something happen to throw you a curveball. So that's the story of me, my wife, and I. Which one do you prefer? The main warehouse is in Wisconsin. Thank you, I believe. I think you are right. I do get a lot of packages of BBTS in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hell, I'll just look at the box right here. Wisconsin. Somerset, Wisconsin. Somerset, Wisconsin. That's where that box came from. I'd love to go up to Big Bad Toy Store. I bet that's a neat store. I assume it's a store. It says it's a store. I'd have to bring lots of money. Can you put Mark III head onto the Punisher War Machine? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say it's 100% interchangeable. And I'm assuming you're asking about the head, not the helmet, right? I'm trying to pull it off the same way I pulled off from the Punisher. Yeah, there. Yep. Fully interchangeable. The only thing that's not interchangeable is, of course, the little, this is not. I bet you these arm pieces are. However, let's see. Let's see if it is. I bet you it is, but I don't know. Find out. Oh yeah, totally interchangeable, 100%. There you go. Vice versa. It might be an interesting swap out, right? How's that? That looks pretty cool, wouldn't you say? A little variety there, huh? Okay. Dude, I swear to God, if they don't offer Whiplash and Stanley and the Mark IV hologram and the black suited Spider-Man 2099 on Sideshow, Comic-Con, whatever the hell they're calling that, from July 20th to 26th, I'm going to cry like a big baby. I swear to God I will. Now, there are some Hong Kong resources that you could purchase these from. For instance, the Neon Tech Mark IV I bought from Hong Kong because specifically Sideshow told me that they were not going to be selling it. I talked to Sideshow directly, and the representative there said, "We will not be getting that." So I bought it from Hong Kong, and I paid a pretty penny for it doing that. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, Sideshow starts selling the doggone things. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Really? 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 And the reason that I asked was because, for fact, there have been two instances that I can think of off the top of my head where they have not sold Hot Toys Iron Man figures through Sideshow. Okay? Those are the Mark 42 redesigned. They sold it at the opening of Shanghai, and they redesigned the hip joint on it, the button on the release for the back that drops the hips. Totally redesigned it. And they also did not sell the Mark 21 Chrome at through Sideshow. The only way you could get those two specific figures was through Shanghai. Now, I did not know that the Mark 42 was re-engineered. Otherwise, I certainly would have tracked one down from Shanghai at that time. But I knew for a fact that the Mark 21 Chrome was a definite buy for me. And one of my absolute favorite pieces. It really is. That Mark 21 Chrome is amazing. And I swear to God, I pray that they make the Mark 7 diecast into the Mark 21 and they chrome it. I truthfully hope that they get around to doing that. But those two pieces, if you wanted them, you had to buy them from a reseller or a distributor out of Hong Kong. Period. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was the only way of getting it. So, with that being said, when the Neon said that it was only going to be in select markets and they couldn't find it and it took forever and a day for it to be coming through Sideshow, I just called them up and said, look, quit messing around. I mean, Comic-Con is here. You're not selling the doggone thing now. What the hell's going on? And they're like, yeah, we're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. So I bought it from Hong Kong and paid for it, getting it that way. And then they started selling it. And I think you can even buy them now. I don't even remember. They stayed on market for like ever at that point. And I would have gladly bought it for less at Sideshow without having to pay for it from Hong Kong. So, with that said, I hope that the Mark IV and the 2099 specifically for me, but the Whiplash and the Stanley as well are available through Sideshow. I really do. I mean, I pray that when they say that it's only available in select markets, that they only mean like through their distributors, unlike, like for instance, Big Bad Toy Store. And I enjoy buying pieces from Big Bad Toy Store. I got this from Big Bad Toy Store, if you remember. But there's always been exclusives. There's always been Sideshow exclusives that you couldn't get at Big Bad Toy Store. For instance, I think the Mark 27 Disco was one. I think the Mark 15 Retro was one. I think there was the 23 Shades, I think, was another that you can get through Big Bad Toy Store in that regards. So I understand that. I understand exclusives. I understand exclusive editions where there's a standard one like the War Machine Mark IV. You had your standard one, then you had the deluxe version. And I don't remember if the deluxe was being able to be sold through Big Bad Toy Store or not. And of course, that had the alternate base and a little one of these guys, Outrider, a red one, I think, is what came on this. This came with, I think, it's Black Widow or Captain America. I forget which one this one came with, but there was a red one that came with. I didn't need the second one, so I didn't buy the deluxe. It just wasn't worth it for me. So I agree. I swear to God, I hope that they sell it. I really do. I really, 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 really do. It'd be so much easier. But yeah, definitely. I hope so, man. I hope so. I don't think that the Iron Patriot 2.0, who will fit in the Hall of Armor. Yeah, you may be right. Maybe too fat, right? Big Bad Toy Store should put shops all over us. They're the only toy store shop for us now. Hey, you can use my backyard. I'll put a Big Bad Toy Store shop in my backyard. Bring it on, Big Bad Toy Store. Hell, I'll go into business, man. There's a store down on the street corner that I could turn into a store. Lots of property available. Where are we at? Scroll down, and it scrolled down a lot. I got a lot of chat to catch up with. Wish we could go to them and buy cool stuff without any Walmart, Target. I could care less service. Aw, I like service. Talking about shops all over, I'm raging to this day. We can easily buy. Is it Muckross or Maycross? It's Muckross. Maycross. Not Robotech figures. And I'm so sorry. I'm so ignorant. I don't know truthfully the difference between all the different tech pieces out there, Macross and Robotech and all that. I'm fascinated by those. I always enjoy catching glimpses of them. I don't know very much of any of the stories, but I love the artwork and I love the designs of all those. But I couldn't tell you the difference between Macross and Robotech and any of the others. I'm sorry to say that. Bibatori's Macross Robo stuff. I stayed up until 4 a.m. trying to buy a Chogukin Macross toy because I need to buy the figures from Japanese stores. Don't know why it bugs me. Punisher stole Rhodey's armor. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering what the story is on that. How the hell Punisher got a hold of Rhodey's armor? I really am really curious about that, to tell you the truth. I thought that there was kind of like how Black Widow explained to Nick Fury that there's protocols written in the armor to keep them from being just worn by anybody. And even Tony had said that to somebody when they said, "Give me a suit" or whatever. And he's like, to Rhodey. He said, "Give me a suit." And he goes, "Yeah, they're not coded to you, right?" They're licensing right now that don't allow us to U.S. stores to sell Macross items. Only some companies sell them in the U.S. as Robotech. Really? Yeah, Robotech is hard to get. I want to get the Series 2 figures from Toynami, mainly Claudia and Captain Glovo. True, but you can't buy the DX Chogukin across figures in the U.S. retailers. Do you have any rules you made for yourself as far as collecting? Well, yeah. And 1/6 is where I'm at. Uh, Unless it's scalable to another portion of the story, like Ant-Man, Hulk, those guys. I'll buy a 1/9 or a 1/12 or even smaller because they can go through. I try to keep them as screen accurate as possible in regards to that in buying the multi-scalable ones. Um, and I have to have some type of an emotional connection to the figure. I have bought figures in the past that really wasn't that great of an emotional connection to, and ended up resenting the figure. And in this collection hobby, the prices are such that that's the last thing you want to do is blow $200 on a figure and then resent that you did that. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a super nice dinner with you and a loved one and some of your friends. That's that's a car payment in some instances. That's a lot of clothes. That's some serious computer upgrades. Hell, I think you can even buy a laptop for that. A real inexpensive laptop for that. A tablet or something to that effect. $200 is a lot of money to spend on something. I mean, and that's the bare minimum. I mean, when you talk to some of these figures, $400, that's a lot of money to spend on something you have no connection to. Because I find it very relaxing and very calming, actually. Even though my shelves are cram packed, which doesn't give you much harmony in regards to the ability for your figures to breathe. But I just get a lot of relaxation just enjoying my figures and looking at them and examining them and having a memory come to me by looking at each one of these figures. And I enjoy a pleasant memory. I don't want to look at a figure and be like, why the hell did I buy that? It's just not there. I love DC as well. It's unfortunate that their writing or whatever the hell's going on with the current movies are such that they just aren't being entertained as much as Marvel has totally kicked total ass. So I'm steering clear of DC because I've got such a Marvel collection. But I would love to have the base characters. I would love to have a Batman, a Superman, a Wonder Woman, an Aquaman, a Flash, or whatever, But I can guarantee you it would just grow out of control from there. For instance, my Star Wars collection literally was just going to be R2D2. Swear to God. That was it. I was just going to buy an R2 and be pleased. I mean, I've grown up with Star Wars for real. I mean, I was like in sixth grade or whatever when the first movie came out. So I mean, I've grown up with Star Wars. Loved R2D2, always did. So I figured, well, I'll just buy A and R2D2, and that became two R2D2s, and then three R2D2s, and different R2D2s, and Astromechs, as you know, and then a C3PO, and hell, now I've got a land speeder and stormtroopers, and I need to collect a Luke Skywalker and an Obi-Wan, and it just grows. One turns into more. Star Trek. Huge Star Trek fan. I've seen every Star Trek episode that has ever been made. I've watched fan created Star Trek episodes. I love reading the books from Star Trek. I cannot stand Discovery, however, and I don't much care for the Kelvin timeline. But a huge Star Trek fan. I love my Jean-Luc Picard. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. And now I want the whole shooting match. I want Data and Worf and Geordi and Riker and Kirk and Spock and McCoy. And I mean, the whole shooting match. And it just slowly starts getting out of hand. So, most importantly, collect what you love. And that's my rule. Collect what I love. And I force myself to stay in this type of a line. I'm enjoying my Deadpool multiverse. Whenever I see figures pop up, I run through my mind all the different Deadpool options and try to figure out if there's a way of making that into a Deadpool. I'm loving the Spider-Man popularity now that we're having a Spider-Man with all the figures now coming out with that. It's fantastic, and I love that that's happening. I'm really looking forward to that. 1/6 movie figures, only no cartoons. This is a cartoon, but sometimes I faltered. Damn you, Optimus and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay, so let's talk about that. Optimus. Um, so when I decided I was going to buy a Camaro, and I knew of the Bumblebee factor, I knew I was going to buy a Bumblebee Camaro. And because that appeals to me in two ways. It appeals to me because of Transformers, the Transformer movie, and a Camaro. And I love my Camaro. And I could not even tell you how many Bumblebee cars that I have, the little models, various scales of them. Um, and it's so funny. We had a guy over at the house recently, and he's seen my Bumblebee model cars, and he says, "Oh, that's your dream car." And I said, "Yeah, that is my car. I have one of those." He goes, "Yeah, I see them all." And I said, "No, no, no. I own one of those cars." He goes, "Yeah, you own like 25 of them." I'm like, "No, no. I mean, I own. Here, I'll show you." And then I went and showed him, my Bumblebee, my one-to-one Bumblebee, Chevrolet Hasbro edition Transformer Bumblebee, officially licensed Hasbro product. It's a big toy. It's a Chevrolet Camaro, and I love it. And so, with rules in regards to that, there's no scale at all on that. But I try to keep it looking as accurate as possible. There are a lot of the toys out there of the Camaros and of the Bumblebee cars that just aren't accurate. And mine's the first movie Bumblebee representation. It kind of represents the first movie Bumblebee. So I also try to stay along that first movie line of that. So that's another rule that I have. So I'm looking at one here. I have a lot of the Bumblebees and the Diecast Chevrolet Camaros, and it's so neat having a car that they make models of and posters of and diecast of and all that. It's really it's neat owning that car as well. And that's what I told my wife when I went out to go buy the Bumblebee. Is she asked me what color I was going to get, and I said, "Well, they make a really beautiful dark blue one with a silver stripe." I said, "But I think I'm going to get it." I said, "But there's the Bumblebee factor." She's like, "What's the Bumblebee factor?" And I said, "Well, they make a Bumblebee car." I've never in my life owned a yellow car or ever wanted a yellow car, but the Bumblebee factor really took over, and that's what I bought was a Bumblebee factor, because I felt that if I didn't buy the Bumblebee Camaro, I felt that I would spend my entire life while owning the blue and silver one and loving the blue one with silver stripes, wondering what it would have been like if I'd owned a Bumblebee Camaro. And I gotta say, it's really fun. Whenever the car goes anyplace, whether it's grocery shopping, to the gas station, down the street, to any type of a Camaro event or anything. Every time without fail, and I'm not trying to jinx this because I enjoy this, somebody says something to me about my car. Somebody takes a picture of the car. Somebody gives me a thumbs up. Somebody's drooling as the car goes down the road. It is a loved car, and I love that feeling. It's nice to know that you have something that other people can appreciate. And it's neat when I go to a car show and I'll bump into the younger generations who know more about my car than I do. And that's reassuring, telling me that the car is still loved so much that this younger person or this person has decided that they want to know everything about this car. It's their dream car. Just as I was explaining to that guy, that was the furthest of his comprehension at that moment, that it was just a dream car, an unattainable, the Holy Grail. And I was like, I have one. He goes, yeah, I see them all. I'm like, no, I mean, I have that car. He's like, no, I understand. You've got like 25 of them here. And it was just beyond him that somebody could actually, I guess, really own that. He didn't expect me to own it. And that's fun. That's nice. It's really cool to have something like that that's unique and yet not unique at the same time. It's just a Camaro, but it's the Bumblebee Camaro. So that's fun. It's all expensive as hell, yeah, no doubt. My only rule is that if I buy non-robotic looking figures, I would Giorno Giovanna pose them for a month. I'm not sure what that means. I'll have to look that up. I did buy a nice little piece. It's not Chokogen, but it's my favorite piece. Plastic mini Voltron. Very cartoon-like and very posable. Well worth what you pay. It's about $100. Anytime you can get a 1/6 scale figure for $100, man, how could you go wrong there at all, right? I try to stay away from the statues as well. I don't know why. I guess because I want to be able to put them into my own pose. But there's not many 1/6 scale statues anyhow, right? Seems to be either like 1/10 or larger scale. Other than that, 85% of my collection is robot-looking figures. That's what's nice about the Iron Man figures, is they resemble robots. Uh, my downside, you got to put it together so many pieces, but looks badass once completed. BBS are new play Toys R Us. Yeah, no doubt. Macross. So I always like in Inuyasha, although a bit sappy. Very true. BBTS is very good. I don't even bother with Entertainment Earth. Most of my stuff is Batman Nolan. And I love the Nolan Batman, by the way. 89 Batman can't go wrong. Adam West can't go wrong. I do have some Star Wars and Civil War figures. Entertainment Earth has wronged me in the past. I pre-ordered a figure from them, and later, tell me months later, they don't have enough in stock. Oh, that's wrong. If you've pre-ordered it, by golly, they should have it. That's wrong. They've been holding on to your money all the time. I mean, pre-ordered it with money. They should have it. So love. Oh yeah, well, your love is waning on Star Wars. I still remember when it was special. I had the Episode 4 figures, and that's where I'm at too. The land speeder, and I want to get the Episode 4 Luke and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have such a hard time, even when I'm discussing it with my wife. It's like Star Wars. Whenever I say Star Wars, that's what I mean. It's Star Wars. The first movie, Episode 4, was not called Episode 4. When you went and seen it in 1977 or whatever it was that it came out, it just said Star Wars. It didn't say Episode 4 New Hope or whatever. It just said Star Wars. That Episode 4 New Hope stuff came later. We knew it was Episode 4 because George Lucas told us in interviews and whatnot that there were prequels to that. But he decided to start with the fourth story, because it was entertaining. He literally told us that the first three weren't really good. And well, he wasn't kidding, was he? So, but it was just called Star Wars. We called it Star Wars, and then Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back, and then Star Wars, the Return of the Jedi. I mean, if it was called A New Hope originally, we would have called it A New Hope. Did you go see A New Hope? I'm going to go see A New Hope. Hey, let's go see A New Hope. Because we said let's go see Empire Strikes Back. We said let's go see Return of the Jedi. We just said Star Wars. If you said Star Wars, everyone knew what you were talking about. Now you got to call it Episode 4 and A New Hope. I hate that. It's Star Wars. Should have left it at that. It pains me looking at those characters were so special when I was 7. Luke, Han, Leia, they were people you wanted to be or be friends with. Yeah, right? Now those characters are just completely crapped on. Yeah, they are. I hate Kathleen Kennedy. She's destroyed. How the hell you destroy Star Wars? I mean, she was handed the freaking the golden egg laying goose. Handed it. And she choked it to death. She killed the golden egg laying goose. She traumatized it so much it's no longer laying golden eggs. That's what she did. She traumatized the golden egg laying goose. Kathleen Kennedy did. How in the absolute fuck can you do that? And then that one pre-order issue I had, Entertainment Earth has not messed my water. And I said, I don't know who Entertainment Earth is. Where are they? Are they in Europe or here? Or is it around 10? It's funny, I cannot accept Bumblebee as a Camaro. I refuse. Yeah, the original G series, the old 1980s, he was like a little square, like, I don't know what. It was just a little bitty car, right? He was not a Camaro. And it is funny that he became a Camaro for the movies. It's funny. It's really funny. But no, he wasn't a Bumblebee. He wasn't a VW Beetle either in the original stories. He was like a square little car. So it's interesting that in the Transformer movies, he's a Beetlebug and multiple incarnations of the Camaro and a Jeep, right? So that's cool. I hate seeing Prime getting flames. Yeah, what's up with that? It's the same as Grimlock not being a dinosaur, right? They did that to Kit too. If that was the case, I mean, why not put flames on the Batmobile? The Mach 5. Yeah, if you drive a Volkswagen, those people crap on you. They refuse seeing Bumblebee as an original Volkswagen. I enjoyed him as a Volkswagen. I thought that was cool. Do you have the Bumblebee? I do have the Bumblebee air freshener biatch. I certainly do. You better believe it. I keep it in a plastic bag, except for when I'm putting it on car shows. And I have a little glitter disco ball too. So I got a disco ball and the biatch air freshener. And it's interesting. I don't know if you know or not, but the biatch air freshener, when they put that in the movie, they just grabbed one, right? They just happened to see it someplace, like at a car wash where they bought it and they stuck it on. It thought it'd be cool. Um, the the that is a trademark logo, registered, copyrighted, the whole 9 yards. And they did that without this person's permission. And if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, she sued them and won over that, and had to be paid royalties for that being in the movie. So there's really only one person, truthfully, you can order it from, and so I bought it from her, the person that has the biatch. So it's the real McCoy biatch air freshener. It really is. I love it. Looking at War Machine, I had a question. Let's have it. Didn't Thanos completely crush War Machine in Infinity War? How is he okay? Did he? I don't remember that. I don't remember. I don't remember how he disposed of War Machine. I really don't. Golden Egg Goose of Fart. She killed it. She killed the Golden Egg Goose. So let me go get the other things I've got recently. Show you what I'm working on. Let's get this guy up here so you can get a good look at him. I'm digging this. I'm digging this pose here. I think this is it. I'll be right back. I'm going to the other room to get my other little whatchamadiggies that I've got going on. My projects. So one of the things that absolutely drove me totally insane with the new Mark 7 diecast is if you wanted to put it into pod mode, you had to use a full-on Mark 7 diecast. And I thought that was insane that they would do that to us. They could have easily just provided this section of body for that, and they did not. So I seen somewhere, Facebook or something, I don't remember, one of you guys had taken one of these really super inexpensive $10 Iron Man figures. I've already popped his head off. Oh, here it is. Here's his little head. That came on that. Just gonna set it on there. Figures and converted it into this, and they did a really good job on it. Before I continue on with that, I'll show you these that I got. Also, I said I had 3 things going on. I've got a Wade Wilson head from X-Men Origins. Will make me a Deadpool of that. And I've got the Wade Wilson head from Deadpool pre-becoming Deadpool. So I'll make him one of those 2. Continuing on with my Deadpools. So back to this. I've bought this now, and again, like I said, you can get these for about $10. And he's much skinnier than this. It's not as bulky. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the legs off, put the little feet in. In here are all the pieces from the Mark 7 diecast. Okay, that I'll need to put on here. And then I'll be able to turn this back into another Mark 7 full-on figure. So I'm going to cut the knees off in half and then stick the little Mark 7 diecast feet inside here, just as they are there. I will be taking these little thigh pieces and attaching them onto the front here. I'll be removing the head and the arms and then attaching this piece onto the body as such. And then of course the little flight pieces will be coming out of here. And I've got a back spine to put here, and then the little pieces that go over where the arm will be coming out here. So the arms will be gone. The legs are going to be cut at the knee. And so what I'm seriously considering though is widening this torso. And what I was thinking I could do that with would be like possibly a like a wood filler, or perhaps a plastic putty or something to that effect, just to expand it, and then getting this paint matched. All right, it doesn't have to be exact, but I need to get the red and the gold paint match, and then painting the little areas that color gold, painting the whole thing a close enough rendition of this red. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to buy a spray paint can and paint it, and then this would just literally snap on place. And then I believe I will be happy with having a pod using this Titan Iron Man, and then I could have my Iron Man back. So those are my projects that I'm working on. And of course, ongoing projects are the Crossbones. I need to finish him up. And the other one I'm working on is gosh darn it, I forget now what the other one is. But anyhow, that's what I'm doing. So that's what I've got going on with all that. Those are my projects. Yes, Kathleen Kennedy threw the Star Wars franchise to the mud and is doing the same with the High Republic. Toward the end, threw an arrow, no good. Groot threw vines, nothing. War Machine blasted him. He twisted his glove, and armor collapsed in, crushing him. Really? Cap was the last one punching him. Hey, you did the custom. Looks cool. Red nail polish. Tamaya? I haven't done it. This is the Mark 7. This is as it comes. I've not done it yet. I will. I will do it. It'll be with this. So this is what you buy from Hot Toys, and I'm going to make it look like this. So what I won't have, I don't believe I'll have all of this little area like such, and it won't have the exploding pieces here as such. They won't be opened up, and of course the thigh won't be as thick. So it won't be necessarily a dead-on reproduction, but it'll look cool enough. I think it'll please me, especially if I get the torso thicker. I do want the torso thicker. And I've thought about the same thing about the thighs. I might want the thighs a little thicker too, but it'll work. And it's only $10. I'm out. So if it doesn't matter, and I won't be damaging any of these. I'm not going to glue them on. I don't plan to, at least. I'll find a way of attaching them to there so they can still come on and off. And then, like I said, I'm going to paint this that color. That's the plan, to do all that. And I don't remember who it was that showed me this, or I think maybe I've seen it on the page. I don't remember. I don't remember which one of you guys. Maybe it was one of you guys that showed me this, but I'm really super excited about doing this, and I loved how you had done it. You did a good job, so I intend to do it. This was the one that I chose, by the way. This Titan. There's many of them. I chose this one because I felt that the waist looked the most like the Mark 7. I don't remember which one this was, but I felt the waist looked the most like the Mark 7. So, because this goes above the waist, this piece does. Fits like right around there, more or less. So, some of the waist is still going to be seen. So, this is the one that I went with. There's many of them. But I assume anyone would work. Anyone that you'd want to use would be good. Or hell, if you got, the money or an extra Mark 7 floating around, a Hot Toys Mark 7, you could even use one of those to do it. But I didn't want to do it with a plastic Mark 7. I still think they're a great figure. I just figured, what's this cost me? $10 plus paint? Time? Because you're going to be hacking it up. For real, hacking it up. Could you save the steps on how you do the pod mod? I'm buying the Mark 7 and I want to do the same. Yeah, I sure will. Is that the Mark 7 armor though? This is the Mark 7 totally, and this is. So these are. I remember I bought 2 of them. So I have a Mark 7 displayed as a Mark 7. Okay, so the beautiful thing about the Mark 7 is there's so many different ways you can display him. So you can display him. You could display him in the, how would you say this? So you can display him in the Avengers mode, where he comes back from the hole after discharging the weapon, where let me just go get the piece to show you. All right, so this is the Mark 7 diecast, and that's the Mark 7 diecast. I have the pieces on him here, which represent, notwithstanding the laser beam, shooting out of his forearm there. But this is what it looked like after traveling with that nuclear missile into space and shoving it up through the hole, wormhole or gateway that was created. So there's no shoulder armors on here. There's no thigh, shoulder missiles on here. There's no thigh missiles on here. And yeah, these little chest pieces are missing off of him as well. Okay, so this is one of the ways you can display him. And then, of course, you can display him as this, where he's battle damaged or not battle damaged or whatever. And then the other way you can display him with all the stuff on him. This is a plastic Mark 7 here. But chill out, man. That was about to attack Tony. This is a plastic Mark 7, but same idea. You have all of the pieces on him. Okay, and so I bought 2 of these because I specifically wanted to be able to pose them in the pod mode and as a Mark 7, because obviously I have the Hall of Armor Mark 7 right here, but also wanted to pose them into the, Return from Thanos, more or less, or Return from Outer Space Mark 7, when he threw the nuclear missiles up there. But I really enjoy the Mark 7 diecast. And I want to be able to display him in this manner, out and about, more or less, and instead of just being up in the Hall of Armor. So I wanted my Mark 7 back. I wanted my Mark 7 diecast back. So they give you all the extra pieces to make the pod. So you have all of these. So once I take all these off, I'll be able to turn this back into that right there. Or, well, actually, this even. So, and that's the plan. Because I want this back. But I want this also. But I hated having to use an entire figure for that. So that was the purpose of getting this right here. But like I said, if you wanted to use this, you're ahead of the game in regards to at least you have the right color. Wrong sheen, but you have the right color and the right thickness of the torso. So if you wanted to use one of these to turn into that, it'd be a lot easier. Still would be some customization you'd have to do to it in order to be able to get all the pieces onto here. But you're ahead of the game, if that makes any sense. And it doesn't matter that he's different scaled because you're cutting all this out anyhow. But I just have a hard time destroying one of these because these are still a great piece. Even though, it's not scaled properly and it's not even accurate to the film in many ways, and this one is more film accurate, I just have a hard time cutting one of these guys up. So, but it'd be a lot easier. So if you have one or can get your hands on one, doesn't cost you too much, or you want to cut this up, it'd be a lot easier than going this route, probably. I'm assuming so, because it's already got the color on it. And it's already got the thickness on it. So, shouldn't be that difficult to do. It might be more difficult, but I wouldn't believe that it would be. I think you're already stepping in the right direction with that as such. So that's my project. Oh, yeah, the Ray. I never finished her boots. So that's the other project. I knew there was another one I was working on. I never finished Ray's boots. I did her one boot, but didn't do the other. Avengers Marvel Titan Hero Series Blast Gear from Iron Man action figure. Yes, thank you, Ghost Have. I will do that. I certainly do. Yeah, $8.92. I think I paid $10 thereabouts. You can find them on there, and like I said, there's many versions of them, and that's the one that I went with because I felt that the belly matched more closely to the Mark 7 than the others. But it's not important, really. Truthfully, you're not going to really see the belly. You see how he's posed as such. So whatever you can get, don't spend too much money on it. Don't pay more than 10 or $15 or whatever. Don't do it. There's no video on how to pod mod, so it has legacy value a long time. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Just about Civil War on 4K. Looks sweet. Also got Dark Knight, but it took really bright kind of off maybe my imagination. I still check the dome replacement for the Ed 209. Yeah, there's a problem with those, isn't there? I will. I will do that. I will do a video of me customizing that. Electronic Iron Man 12-inch for the pod since he's a chubbier. Yeah, there you go. If that works, it's a good idea. Guitar black fabric for the dome, it matches up. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Or is it like a speaker fabric or something? I figure it's way cheaper. Not sure how they do it though for Ed 209. And amp cloth, yeah, amp cloth works as well. That's what I was just thinking. I have one Hot Toys Ed 209 that I haven't opened, so I want to be ready when I put him in my collection. Oh yeah. Go be careful. I had my Terminator Police Shootout figure in box. I opened up, and the leather was already peeling. I never touch it. Be careful. There was a video I watched. A guy showing how to protect those leathers. There's a finish that he puts on all of those leathers to keep them from peeling apart. And I probably need to do that. I forget what it was he put on them, but he claims it'll keep that from happening. Research that and find something to keep that leather. He was doing it on what figure was he doing it on? I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a Deadpool figure or what he was doing it on. To tell you the truth, but he was just showing you how to do it to the vinyl leather, fake leather figures. I thought it was a pretty good idea. It made a little gloss on it though, so I wasn't too keen on that. But if they keep it from flaking apart and falling apart, yeah, well worth it. Keep an eye on it, even if it's in the box. Age damage, yeah. If the dryness breaks the dome made of rubber. The Nobi 2 uses gel for the rubber. There you go. I forgot what he used. I was pissed when I was like, what the fuck? I never even opened it. He showed it. Yeah. I think I seen a Denobi video talking about that too. Same thing with your Fison figures. Supposedly there's stuff you're supposed to put on them to keep them from breaking down. I don't know. It kind of sucks with the knowledge that some of these figures are going to just start breaking apart and wearing out over time. I mean, it really sucks. But I guess when you think about it, when you see these old videos or shows or whatever where they find these old toy cars and stuff and all the paint's done worn off the doggone thing and all that. So I guess just age is going to mess up your stuff anyhow. So it kind of reminds me of the movie Toy Story when they Woody, what was he? What was the story with Woody? Something happened where he ended up getting resold or something, and then they had to contact a toy refinisher to bring Woody back to life, and a little paint dab here and a little cleanup there, and turn him into a brand new figure again. So I hope that there's people like that out there that I can always contact to have them refurbish, refinish, or repair my figures in the future. Oh, $400 for your Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator figure. Yeah, jeez. Jeez. Yeah. Well, if you were with me when I took my Mark V for Tony Stark in his racing suit and all the leather just busted up on it. And I didn't pose him any way at all. He was just standing there and then all the leather just cracked right up on it. Really, really bothered me. And so much so that I thought I should buy another one. I've got the leather here someplace. I'm not using that body on it anymore. Got him in. I got that body in a different suit. I need to buy some Tony Stark bodies, and I was like, I need to buy another one of these suits. And one of y'all said, just make it battle damage, and that made pretty good sense. So I don't know. Sarah Connor. That was a little better, Arnie. So that's what I got coming up is Spider Gwen. I've not heard anything else. I guess some of you guys have received your Hawkeyes. Some of you guys have received Captain Marvels. Some of you guys have received. Are the Jawas out? Because I ordered a Jawa and Power East C6 or whatever droid. Because I started collecting the Gosh darn droids and I've got a Jawa coming. Jeez. Let's see. What else? Captain Marvel. Oh, I guess Ant-Man is hitting soon, right? I think I've seen an Ant-Man floating around someplace. Uh, so we have Captain Marvel, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and what was the other one I just said? The Jawa. I think I saw a Jawa and a Power Droid or something floating around someplace. Somebody's gotten. I might be confused on that, but I guess those are the next four I should be getting contacted on. That'll be getting delivered soon. I think that's it. Curious what's taking the Wasp so long. Really wanting my Wasp. My Carl Urban Dread has the same problems as Assault Flakes. Well, that sucks because of the crotch stamp. I can't see, so I guess it's okay. I found it Shin Etsu silicone. That's what you put on the Fisons or on the leather or what? And it's called Shin Etsu silicone. Where can you buy that? Like on Amazon or whatever? Check this. Funny part, my 12 Terminator Perfect. Someone said it was a real leather jacket. I don't know about that. The world is so interesting in different countries. Real leather is not permitted to be sold. Um, so a lot of times toy manufacturers will not put real leather on their toys because it could keep it from being sold in certain areas like India. I think doesn't allow you to ship anything that is real leather into their country. I may be wrong, but I think I remember reading that or hearing that someplace at one point. For reference purposes, video, the Avengers Mark 7 stealth mode version, Toy Fair exclusive Hot Toys unboxing, timestamp 421. By Denobi? What's he talking about? Putting the silicone on top of the little elbow, inside of the elbow area? Is that what he's talking about putting it at? Homemade Suit Spider-Man released to Hong Kong. I really need that drone. Hopefully I can buy it from someone selling the parts. There's a third-party manufacturer that sells just the drones if you want. That way you don't have to worry about buying it from Hot Toys or hoping somebody will get rid of it. You can buy that from, I don't remember if it's 1/6 Kid or 1/6 Outfitters. I think I've seen them at, possibly Toys Wonderland. But you can get just the drone. Now, I don't know if they're still available to be sold, but there was some, pardon me, there's a company that's making just the drones. So to add to your Spider-Man Homecoming suit. Homecoming Spider-Man suit doesn't flake up. Yeah, right? Or the Iron Man, Iron Spider one. Iron Spider. Silicone is rubber to last longer and not get dry and break. Someone said the Terminator T2 jacket was made of real leather. Not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Might be, but I don't know. But it's still looking good. Hasn't flaked in years. The video I had in the previous post was the Nobi 2 video. Sorry I love Denobi too. I've spoken with him many times. I would, if uh, if uh, if Denobi would be interested, I would love to do a video with him. I'd have to make all the way a trip down to Vegas, or he'd have to make a trip up here in Northern California. But hell, I would love to spend some time with Denobi. He seems to be super smart, and I love his videos. I've talked to him directly on a few occasions, and so he's familiar with me. I'm obviously familiar with him, and I have no problem with Denobi. Matter of fact, I put Denobi and Sardimus as suggested sites on my YouTube site. And I don't know if you guys follow Sardimus. He really collects more 1/12 scale figures, but he collects everything. More so than he does, Hot Toys. Well, I mean, 1/6 scale figures. His wife was tested positive for the coronavirus a couple weeks back, and now he has as well tested positive for the coronavirus. I think his wife was recovering from it. I know he said that she went like 10 days where she was really ill from it with the side effects, and I guess she started turning around, and then he just recently tested positive. Now, I don't know if it's how all that testing works. I've never been tested for it. I think what they do is they test you, and then 2 weeks later they have the results or something. I don't know what is going on with that. I don't know if they give you a result answer right then and there, or if he wasn't infected with it until just recently, or how all of that played out. But that's what I've been told by him. So if you follow Sardimus, if you know who Sardimus is, and you hadn't heard that, you can reach out to him if you desire and give him your thoughts and prayers. Let him know your thoughts and prayers are with him. Or uh, if nothing else, if you don't want to reach out to him, just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He's a friend of mine as well. And Sean is a friend of mine. Sean Long is a friend of mine. However, Sean just really distanced me. I think it's because even though we have a passion for the collecting community and comics and whatever else and all of that, I guess we're from two different sides of the street in regards to how we look at life. And so he never really gave me the impression he enjoyed hanging out with me. But that's fine. So yeah, it is kind of a tight knit group in some aspects where we all intermingle and chat with each other as such. And so that's what's going on. So yeah, you have no problem with you talking about the Nobi. No problem at all. So where are we at? I've seen a third party drone. There has been no update on it since March. I'm guessing due to the COVID, right? Like all YouTubers. I have a DIY videos, and a lot are Denobi 2 videos. Yeah. Is it me or are toy reviewers complete assholes? Oh, hey, I guess some people are what they are, right? Whether they're being a toy reviewer or not. I've known a lot of assholes that weren't toy reviewers in my lifetime. Yeah, yeah. His wife tested positive a couple weeks ago, and he just tested positive recently. And he's got the two little ones. I think he said one of them was fine. Um, I don't remember what he said about his other daughter though. Sorry. Acting like asses, Burn Six reviews always seem down to earth. I hope my reviews seem down to earth. I'm not trying to put on a show. Actually, Sharman has put it into his videos, so I wasn't sharing personal information he shared with me. He has shared that with his viewers, and so I wouldn't have just thrown that out there if he hadn't already. I don't go about sharing personal information. I'm pretty private personally. So no, I shared that only because he shared it, and I was wanting to get your love from you guys out to him if you were there. But no, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you where he lives. I'm not giving you his phone number. I'm not. I'm not even going to mention his real name. So I don't go. I don't roll like that. But he'd already mentioned that in his videos and on his Facebook. So It's out there. Blah, 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 blah. What? No, Siri. Kind of personal and private still, like the guy. Anthony Cousins has to deal with a lot of BS. I used to watch his streams, and he is not an asshole. He just lacks patience. I think Sean's falling on hard times. I think Sean's been on hard times his entire life. I love Sean, man. I've tried to be there for him. I've tried to boost him up. I've tried to help him out. I've offered him help in any capacity that he could ever want it. I feel sometimes, I feel Sean's just one of those guys that's just always going to be in that mode. I don't know how to say that. It just seems to be his way of existence. I've not been able to get him out of whatever it is he's in forever, if that makes any sense. Talking about Anthony's Customs. Yeah. The moment in a hospital. Okay, I figured I get it, but I've always stayed away from people. Introvert. Gotta separate the craft from the person. True, Trav. It's hard sometimes. Yeah, and I've been making videos here for these videos. I think I started making them in 2015, and I didn't even show my face on there for a long time, and just really tried to keep everything really private. And I still am pretty private in regards to a lot of things. So I respect that, and so no, I wouldn't have shared that about Shartimus if he hadn't already put it out there. So I was sharing with you guys in case you hadn't been keeping up with him, because most of his stuff, it really isn't the 1/6. He has a lot of 1/6 stuff, but he doesn't have like a full on 1/6 collection. Most of his stuff was 112. So if you guys know him, say some prayers for him and his family. If you do that, throw some karma his way. Ask the universe to take care of him. Wish him well in your own way, however you wish to do it, or not. Up to you. Just sharing. I always feel bad for Sean. I mean, I always feel bad for him, man. Every time I see him, I give him a hug, tell him I love him, and it just never seems to get any better for him. I don't know. I and he moved. He used to be here, and so it was easier for me to see him. And now he's moved back to where he's from. He's still here in Northern California, but he's moved back to where he lived before living here, where I live. And so I haven't seen him since he's moved away or moved back. But yeah, I used to see him regularly, and I don't know. Maybe he's emo. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's got their own problems, right? Everyone's got their demons. Nobody's perfect, right? I tell you what, though, thank God he got rid of that horrible, awful Jesus hippie hair. I hate it when he would grow his hair long like a Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier, or whatever. He's a trip, man. Sean is an absolute trip. Jesus, what? Same. You can tell Sean's a decent guy. I truly do hope things get better for him. I've never heard him say a cross word about anybody. Truthfully, I mean, for real. He seems to find the good of everyone. Sean does, and he'll make you feel as though he cares for you when you see him. He really does. He just really seems to always be that kind of a guy that just seems to want to make you happy. You know, I don't know. I don't hate him. I don't hate him at all. It's just he seems to have always distanced himself from me just a little bit. I did not know that about Optibotimus. I haven't watched any of his videos for a while. He also has a Bumblebee Camaro. I think his is a 2000. I think his is a Dark of the Moon version Bumblebee. Mine's the first movie Bumblebee. I think his is the third movie Bumblebee. What? Oh, I didn't know he sold the Camaro and got divorced. Oh, that's a crying shame. Oh man. Oh, that sucks. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about Optibotimus. That sucks. Sorry to hear that. Wow. I haven't kept up with his videos. I don't know why. I just haven't kept up with him. But yeah, life is hard, man. Everyone goes through stuff, and my wife tolerates these. She's not necessarily doesn't she's not pleased that I have them, you know, but she doesn't necessarily hold it over my head, you know. I mean, I'm not taking money out of the house to buy them, so she's not suffering because I buy them. The bills are paid, the house is taken care of, as far as that goes. So, food in our tummies, whatever food she wants, she gets. Nice cars, clothes. So, I mean, I'm not sacrificing anything. She's not sacrificing anything because of this. Now, these Saturday mornings would be the only time that I'm not at her beck and call. And even then, if she were to like scream out or whatever, I would go to her in an absolute second and take care of her. But that's why it's important to make sure you find somebody that appreciates and loves your hobby. That was one of the things Charlimus had said when he met Charlita, because he'd been doing this way before he'd met her, and they had the discussion about the hobby, and then of course when the children came into the picture, they had the discussion about the hobby, and Charlita is great, and she loves Charlimus, and they're great family. He is such a hard worker. He told me recently that somebody had accused him of being lazy. And I will tell you this, man, Charlimus Prime is not a lazy man. I've spent days with him and just watching that man work. He works. That dude, he's working a lot. So don't ever think for 1 second that he doesn't bust his ass. He truly does. So he's a good guy. Really is a good guy. So that's important. Make sure you find someone that you love. If you're not already in a loving relationship and you're looking for somebody and wondering where that other person is, just you know get yourself out there, but don't. You shouldn't have to make anything work. You really shouldn't. On every relationship where I've had to make it work, it didn't work out. Trust me. And I didn't have to make this relationship work. It worked from like day one. So when it's right, it's right, and that right person is out there for you, for real. I mean, I still have to love my wife. It's not a half, but and I don't take her for granted, and I don't abuse her, and I don't exert dominance over her or whatever. I'm not a jerk to her. I'm just me, and she is she, and we are we. We all come together. Cuckoo, choo. So there's somebody out there for everybody, I believe. But make sure it's the right person. And don't be a jerk. I did not know he had a bad time. He loved his Camaro. He even custom his Camaro to fully match the Bumblebee on the steering wheel. Yeah, I've thought about doing the same thing in regards to making my Camaro match the movie closer. There's a lot of ways that my Camaro doesn't match the movie. When Chevrolet made it, it's an officially licensed product by Hasbro, and it's coded as the Transformer Camaro in the build sheets and on the sticker. that has all the codes on it. It has the Transformer code there. So it's a real life, honest goodness, officially licensed Hasbro product made by Chevrolet. But there's a lot of differences, and I've thought about that many times, customizing my Camaro to make it look more so like the movie Camaro. But on the other side of the coin, I have a low numbers Bumblebee Camaro. Chevrolet never kept track exactly as to which ones had the CTA. They gave us a full number of how many they made of the Transformer Camaros 2010, but they didn't number them as they come off the assembly line. Number one, the first one, the number two, number three, number four, etc. But based on the VIN numbers, I've only found one other production Camaro that's older than mine, which makes me believe that I have the number two Transformer Camaro Bumblebee that was made. And I know the owner of the one that's older than mine, and she's done some customizing to hers. So mine is still in original condition. I mean, mine is like an excellent condition. Now, there were two others that I know of that were made as Bumblebee Camaros, but I don't believe they had the CTH code. One was the one that was premiered in the 2009 San Diego Comic Con, where they unveiled the Transformer Edition Bumblebee. Now, keep in mind, you couldn't order the car until August. So they had assembled one with all the Bumblebee features on it and showcased it at San Diego Comic Con. Another one was Scott Settlemeyer's Camaro. And it was a yellow Camaro that he was driving around, provided to him by Chevrolet, pre-production car. So the VIN number is not in line with the production vehicles. It's a pre-production car. And they then put, I believe in March of that year or thereabouts, the Bumblebee logos and stickers on there, pre-signing of the license with Hasbro. So I don't believe it either is a true CTH Bumblebee Camaro. So those two cars are pre-production Bumblebee Camaros, and then of course the one that has a VIN number lower than mine, and then mine. So however you look at it, until I see documentation that states otherwise, I either have the number two or the number four Bumblebee Camaro. And so I want to keep it in the original condition, because obviously that's a lot of times what somebody is interested in purchasing of these items. You know, when you customize something, you've made it to your likings. When you have it left the way that it was provided, then it reaches to everybody, because then they can do whatever they want with it in that regards. People are going to want it to be in the original condition. So I go back and forth in regards to whether I should customize, update, or whatever to my Camaro to do that to it. But because it's such a low numbered Camaro and low mileage, I mean, I have like 34,000 miles on the car, and it's going on 11 years old now, and it's in perfect condition. So there have been a lot of changes to the Camaros over the 5 years that they made that body style. For instance, rear mounted cameras and front mounted cameras and parking sensors and all sorts of stuff that wasn't available in my car at the time. You couldn't get all these things. And then of course, you know, the changes in regards to making it look more like the movie Bumblebee. And so these are things that I've discussed with myself, and I've decided just to keep the car straight. If I ever wanted to make one look more like the movie, I would probably just go out and buy one specifically just to do that. One that may have higher mileage on it or something to that effect, or maybe even a 6-cylinder or something along that lines. But you know, I've decided to leave mine just as it is. In one of his old videos, I was shocked when it was asking for Patreon money. Oh, that's a crying shame. Everyone's falling hard. I'm lucky I've been blessed, still have a roof, no woman, so a bit easier. Still worry it would all change just in a snap. Just like that, man, for real. Not to be a fangirl on Anthony Customs, he is a good guy, but he does sugarcoat his words. I interacted on his streams for over a year, and that is my personal experience with him. Oh, okay. Uh, does not. Wait a minute. He is a good guy, but he does not sugarcoat his words. Okay, I got you. Uh, and not sick at moment. I hope stayed that way. I'm looking at it blessed still. I root for his wound. They could have changed. Snap. And not sick. Oh, not sick. Oh, you're talking about yourself. Oh, yeah, right. I got you. Yeah, he was snarky with me. I just don't watch anymore and said fight not worth it. Yeah. Same with retro blasting. I was on live stream and got banned and said, why? And he said, you deserve it. And then found out that the other guy never apologized. Now, I'll say the one guy that really rubbed me wrong, I mean, totally rubbed me wrong, is John Deek. I've had my posts removed from 1/6 Society. And it all started when John Deek got into a relationship with Sideshow, where Sideshow was giving him preferential treatment and pre-releases of figures. And so when he started getting in bed with Sideshow, um, and I'm happy that he got that. I mean, I would like that, but he lives near them, so it was an easy marriage for him to be able to do that. And he worked for it. But when that happened, all of a sudden he started attacking anybody that wasn't Sideshow that was selling figures. And speaking of, that's my wife calling. Let me go see how she's doing. Baby, are you okay? How can I help you, love? 4 hours, they say it's okay not to exceed 4,000 milligrams in a day. You're welcome, sweetie love. You are welcome. All right, guys, if you're still here, sorry about that. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still here. Anyhow, I was talking about John Deek. So he started removing my posts off of 1/6 Society, so I got a problem with him. But other than that, I don't have a problem with anybody. That's my job. So now I've got to cut you guys loose. See y'all next week. Thanks for your love and your support. And subscribe to Patreon. Peace. Love you. Bye.